And welcome on in. We are getting started. You know, as you can see, oh, wait, you might not be able to see. As you can see, we've got the printer on the desk. I've been doing some tuning and everything in between streams. Well, so far I've seen Mike, Mad Dog, Cody. Welcome on in. Mike, I'm going to blame you for this because my partner needed new hair ties. Well, they found a pack of hair ties they liked, but it came with some that they didn't. And so they handed off the hair ties to me and told me to wear them on stream. So that is your hair tie for today. I entirely blame you, Mike. Mountain Dew today, we're going with instead of a standard 20 ounce, a 16.9 ounce bottle. Oh, Gergman, you're only partially here? Okay. Well, partially here is better than not here. Had some Mountain Dew Kickstarter beforehand, and James says it tastes good. To me, the upfront flavor is good, but it has a diet taste. Oh. But we're going to give people a few minutes to get on in here. No. Wait for the poll to finish. Is it working? We have 6 votes. And based on that, I'm guessing one person is saying no so far. Fat Owl, how you doing? Welcome on in. Well, of course, I mentioned something. Down Under, how you doing? All right, so giving a bit of time for people to come in. Yeah, Gergman, I saw you talking about that. Did you finally decide on what color scheme you're going to go for? Well, I'm going to give it here till 7:05 my time for people to come on in. And so we're going R2D2, so blue and white. Nice. Most vulgar character in cinema history. They beeped every single line he had.
And you thought my dad jokes were terrible.
Oh, I'm wrong on that one. Okay, so you have an R2. Do you have an R5? Kirkman? We need an R2, R5, an R2 KT. And if you guys don't know the story behind that, that is a touching story that I can fill you in on.
Meaning like someone touched a droid and turned it into another droid? Isn't that how all droids are made?
No. According to Clone Wars, they're made in a factory line. An R2 party barge would be fun. And I am here in Florida. There's plenty of pontoon boats. As long as there wasn't too much wake, we could get an R2 with the tray like on Jabba's sail barge. All right, well, without further ado, I told you guys that I was going to work on this off stream and get it working. Well, I got it working. So I have a special little print here if James wants to switch to the computer here real quick.
I already did. They've seen it.
Cody Pax, how you doing?
I saw the print for a second, but I think they care more about actually watching the printer, so here we are.
Yeah. Soulful C3PO.
Also, working
That is great, Gergman.
Working is a relative term, so we'll see here.
Doing our quad gantry here. First round got us a 0.04 for tolerance, so it can do a lot better than that. I do have graphs to show. And the other thing I want to say, I want to give a huge shout out to Down Under Maker. The umbilical clips you see he made, and they clip perfectly.
Yeah, you know, they're all right.
Okay, so our final tolerance got down to 0.007068. I've had better, but that's pretty good. So now it's heating up our nozzle to 150. So we can actually do a touch home instead of just a scan. And once this thing starts printing, I found out why we kept erroring out last stream. And it was 2 lines of code. That's it. 2 lines.
That's more than it usually is.
Dunk on the nozzle tip. There it goes. An adaptive mesh scan, and then it parks kind of right near where the print is because I have the smart parking turned on.
Could be smarter though.
Oh, now it's heating up the extruder to our printing temperature. I found through my testing with ASA 270 gives me a pretty good result. I think I can tune in my PID tune a little bit more because it does overshoot sometimes. It overshoots. All right, so I have adaptive purge set up, so it does a nice little purge line before it starts the print based on where the actual print area is, so that way it's not purging in the same place every time, so it doesn't wear out that spot on the build plate.
Guys, there's plastic coming out of the hot end of this printer. It's a crazy notion, I know.
Give this a bit. Let's hopefully it gets high enough soon that you guys can start to see these layers. Up there, you can see the purge line there. I also learned the big importance while I was doing tuning and all this of preheating the chamber, because I was doing the flow rate test and it kept peeling up on me, and I was like, "What the heck is going on?" I was trying, hey, let's raise the bed temperature. Let's slow down the print. Nothing was working. Then I sat there and just turned on the heat bed to 105 and left it there for half an hour. Tried the print again. Came out perfect. So according to Orca, this print should take about half an hour. Okay, let's see. OD packs. Question for ASA prints. You have an A1 that need to print car exterior parts. A little part, but you have no idea how to. So the big thing with the A1 is, since it's not an enclosed printer, if it's a very tiny part, you might be able to get away with just printing on it. But the other big thing is, I'm not sure on the specs. I don't know if an A1 can get hot enough to print ASA. I know the A1 is designed to be a PLA and PETG machine primarily. But not owning an A1 myself, I haven't really looked into their specs. If anyone in chat knows, but the other big thing is, if you can enclose it in some way, a big box or something like that, that can also help, because ASA, just like ABS, likes to shrink as it cools, and so if it's not in a heated environment, it will actually shrink and peel up off the bend that's printing. Down under, is that towards me or towards someone else? Because I did find that the heating the chamber did actually have an effect. Havoc, how you doing? Havoc, we are just getting this print started. Okay. I can look up for you real quick, Buddy Max, what the A1 can get up to as far as temperature. So here, according to Bamboo's own site, for the part on their FAQ that gives me temperatures. What? Yeah, so I'm just looking on Bamboo's site to see what they're saying about temperatures. Okay, so the max hot end temp is 300 and the max heat bed is 100. So in theory, OD packs, you should be able to print ABS or ASA, but yes, you would need a cardboard box or something on it. The big thing I would caution you with the investigation that's going on right now that, uh, Gamers Nexus and 3D Musketeers is doing with the overheating. Um, Pushing those temperatures could possibly push that A1 over the edge, and especially if you're sealing it up. So also be aware of that. Well, welcome back from Murph Havoc. Hope you had a good time. Been watching any content on it yet, but was there anything there that stood out to you? Okay, so I think you guys are starting to see. Yep, you guys are starting to see the print on the screen. The other thing I'm going to adjust once I'm done is I want to move the final park position. I want to move my Y a bit forward. Havoc, you had a blast. Like there was a giant Voltron, like individuals or the actual like combined lions and all that. Yeah, Odipax, I don't know if Gamers Nexus has put out his video yet, but Grant from 3D Musketeers has put out quite a few videos on the issue that they're having, and they're working on doing an investigation on. The guy with the Piccolino and a magnetic IDEX. Magnetic IDEX. That's so the tool heads detach or something. Oh, that is kind of cool. If you can break it down to the individual cats, but still combine it together to sit here and on Voltron. My child.
So you saw a demon. That's what I'm hearing, Mike.
No, he was just looking in the mirror.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Okay. So about halfway through this print, actually 42%. For those of you that came in after we showed the preview, can anyone that came in after we ah ah oh, okay, my magnetic IDEX. That is a tiny extruder. Yeah,
That's what she said.
I'll show the little video here, just a little intro video. But yeah, that's very small.
That is also what she said.
Don't want to leave that on too long. No. That is definitely a Krampus. That is so cool.
Yeah, that's a demon.
And a Voltron. Yeah. Krampus and a Voltron there. That is awesome. How you doing, Caleb? And Nemesis, welcome on in. You just put in your serial request for the stealth changer? Nice.
Oh yeah, you got to put in your serial request, don't you? Still.
Yeah, I do. In fact, what I've got to do. Hey James,
That's me.
can you go inside and ask the partner to get a pen and a piece of paper? Apparently, the way you have to do this now is you have to put your Reddit username in front of the printer, but we might do it. We might do a second print. So if you guys have any recommendations for a quick print that we could do, here is a close-up of that Voltron. Yeah, if you guys have any recommendations and can put a link into stream chat for a quick little print we could do, that way we could do the we'll do a serial request live here on stream, and I'll just have James cut it down later. Mike wants Captain Crunch. Havoc wants Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Birdman multi-bin is eventually going to be a thing that we're going to do on this. And I am doing multi-board on that big wall back there. And I'm going to have multi-bins on there. Yeah, we could just do a 4-on cube. Gotta sit here and remember. Did I make myself a Reddit account for Penguin Makers? I think we do. I do.
Yes, indeed, Nemesis. That is a 352.4. It's the it's the printer that started the channel, and this is the first time that's actually printed in the multiple months that we've been doing this.
Actually printing reliably. We got a Benchy out of it.
True.
We got a Benchy out of it before. But after that, I couldn't get it to really print anything else. It's printing reliably now. Let me see what I need to put on here for the serial request. Or serial request. It then requires is it serial number is okay. For the latest requirements includes a paper and handwritten Reddit username and a date. Today's date is June 14th, 2026. Oh no, I've got to do it from the beginning. So we're gonna do one more print after this is done. I'm gonna
Ain't
let me
nobody
see
got
here.
time for that.
Maybe I can. Let me get some tape here. Enjoy my terrible, terrible handwriting.
I've seen worse, particularly my own.
And James, I'm gonna need you to cut this down later, and we've got to post it to Reddit. We will see if they take this because it's obviously printed.
I could start the clip at the beginning of the print, and it does still meet the requirement of it having it there. It just hasn't been there the whole time.
All right. So, what percentage are we at? Close out the images. 83% done. Raj, welcome on in. Buddy packs, no problem. That's what I wanted to bring to your attention because, yeah, if printing out in open air, it can sit here and possibly heat to the point of destruction. I don't even want to imagine what it's going to do if you put a cardboard box. Havoc, I know you like that Ferrari stuff. Well, eventually, I think I've decided I'm eventually gonna put a stealth changer on this. There are some crazy plans for this printer, but once this is done, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna be working on our little, you know, my little side box here because this is literally I have this out here and it has one purpose and one purpose only. It's for me to do stupid things to. So, if all goes as planned, we'll be getting Home Assistant on this. Now, this is also me, and as we know, things don't normally go as planned around me. Yeah, Gerkman, we are going to be doing with the multi-tool board or with the multi-board, we are going to be putting multi-bin on it as well because I need a place to store screws and find them easily. Because right now my storage...
Are you trying to tell me you have a loose screw?
I've had that for decades. But right now my storage solution is a box. So that's not going to work going forward. But now that I have this, the next thing I got to do is I'm going to work on making sure I can do the stacking because I actually just got in 18 rolls of filament for both the Micron, the multi-board, and some personal projects that I'm working on. Printing out a bunch of these little pen holders for coworkers. see here. Yeah, Caleb, I know you were working on it, and I'm glad you got those notifications working. That is a very helpful thing to have. We have a print.
For the first time, literally ever.
So multi-board is normally supposed to be PLA, Gertman. The problem is in the environment that I'm in. I wouldn't trust PLA in Florida in a garage, and so that's why I'm printing it out of ASA for the higher temp tolerances, because Florida garages can get very hot. Yep, I'll get those. And if it yet, I will do it nice and up close to the camera. We have a tux.
Hey, don't show us his backside. That's private.
But yeah, this is a little supportless model I found on printables, and it's got some pretty decent overhang, so I figure for a test print, it's not a bad one. But let me go ahead. I'm going to get this desk cleared.
And then we can do
shut
what we
down the
actually set out to
host.
do today.
We got to shut down the host, switch the power cable over. Take our Ethernet, switch that over. And now comes the fun part, because this thing is not the lightest thing.
Really, you don't say. But now you guys can also see, not only did he get a printing from the last time you seen it, he got the skirts on, he got the screen on, he got it, finished.
Well, finished. Oh, the other good thing I'm happy of is, even though there's an air conditioning in here, that thing running with 105 bed or 100 C bed, I forgot I'd lowered that. That puts off a lot of heat in here. So that one running with 100 C bed plus that one running with 100 C bed, it's warm in here. And yes, my circuit is apparently good enough that two printers could run at the same time. Okay. Now, I'm going to try something here, because for Home Assistant is a nice little home automation thing. There are multiple ways to run this thing. The people who make Home Assistant Nabukasa, it's an open source project, but they also make hardware to help, fund the development and everything for it. So you can do things like, let me zoom in here so you guys can see. you can buy what they call their Home Assistant Green. It's a little standalone box. Home Assistant's already on it. You know, you just plug and play. Cool, you go. Bergman, there's plans. But we're probably going to go a bit more insane than that. So, you know, the Home Assistant Green, it's just a standalone box. It's kind of a sealed environment. It's a very basic thing, but it allows you to get started. Oh, let me back up here. So, Home Assistant is a smart home ecosystem, kind of like how you have Amazon Alexa or Google Home, or that, you know, you can connect everything to, or Apple HomeKit, where you connect it to, but then it goes out to the cloud. So, like, if you sit here and have your lights connected to Google, you can tell Google to turn on your lights, but the command goes out to the cloud, processes, come back. And of course, that means, hey, Google has some insight into your life. And it's, you know, you start getting into things like robo vacuums and cameras and stuff like that. That can get a bit concerning. Well, with Home Assistant, you can have all of that processing done at home locally. So it doesn't even, depending on the equipment you have, it never needs to go out. You don't even need an internet. It can all be done locally. So, you know, as I said, it started, the Home Assistant Green is just kind of a plug and play solution. It can also be installed on a Raspberry Pi. They have a whole image for it. You know, they do recommend a Pi 4, Pi 5. But, you know, a lot of us have one of those sitting around. I know. Thank you for reminding me. I'm trying to break that. There are two versions of Home Assistant. There's Home Assistant OS, which is a standalone operating system, just like Linux or Windows or Mac OS, based on Linux. Stop saying on. They also have a Docker container. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Docker, just because it runs with root privileges and things of that nature. And I happen to have enough spare computers sitting around that I can just throw, you know, Home Assistant on a computer, or like the way I have it running in a VM. Let's see here. Catch on my chat. Yeah, so the local is kind of some devices do require talking back to a home server to authenticate. For instance, the newest Google thermostat, their Nest Learning thermostat, even though it's Matter and Thread capable, what you should be able to just connect it up to any system and it works. Google won't let you do that. You have to set it up to Google Home, and it has to be in Google Home to continue working. So certain companies, their products, they'll kind of force you into their stuff. But other ones, like for instance, in my house, I have Nanoleaf light bulbs. They have never touched the Nanoleaf app, and they work perfectly fine. And those are Matter of Thread. So the next step up from the Home Assistant Green is Home Assistant Yellow. That's where you can start adding in some more functionality like Zigbee and
one thing I will say though is the Home Assistant Yellow is discontinued. They don't make that anymore.
Yep. They were talking about replacing it for a while. I don't think they've come out with a replacement for that yet. But that one, you could put in different radios for like Zigbee or Z-Wave to get an expanded functionality. You could also do things like the single board computers that are x86 based, like Odroid. Or in the case that we're doing, we're going to install Home Assistant on an x86. computer. There's also ways that you can install specialized version, kind of like the difference between Mainsail OS and Raspbian OS. They're both based on the same thing, but one is focused on something. You can do that on a Pi. You can install it in a Docker container there. You can install it in Linux via Docker container. It runs on Mac. It runs on Windows. You know, it almost runs on everything. Mad Dog, if the shipping wouldn't kill me, I could actually send you another. But with the x86 install that we're doing, the big thing is that Home Assistant, the OS, doesn't install like a standard operating system. It installs more like a Raspbian or a Mainsail OS, where you have to write the image to a disk. So you can't just do like Windows or Linux where you throw it onto a thumb drive and that walks you through the install. No, you use like Balena Etcher or Rufus, or if you're on Linux, you know, Restore to Disk or Fedora Media Writer, something like that to actually write to the disk. Now I'm going to try something new, because the KVM that we have here that I can show you what's on the screen, theoretically should have it where it can mount an image into this system directly.
It does have storage on it, that's for sure.
And I've told it to do that. So we're going to try that. If it doesn't work, I planned ahead. I have an Ubuntu image on here because we need to boot to a live image first. Let's see here. So yes, that is something else. The if you come up here, the Home Assistant OS, the full version, gives you everything. The Docker container, you lose access to the apps and one-click updates. So the apps, I can tell you, are a big thing. Like Zigbee and Matter run as an app, not an integration. So you couldn't integrate those if you were running the container version. Thank you for the shout out and reminder, Mad Dog or Mad Owl. Not Mad Dog.
Come here for a second.
Too many Mads. Uh-oh.
I haven't had this issue with the can in a very long time.
Oh.
It opened it.
James sat here and just tried to open a can of Arizona tea, and he broke off the tab before the can opened.
Technically, it opened. It was just the back part of it, not the front.
Okay, so what we're gonna do? Let me get this KVM up, and we're gonna see if this goes, because theoretically okay, so we're going to go into our BIOS setup, because one of the big things that you have to make sure is Home Assistant does require a newer BIOS. Now if you're running, you know, I believe a 4th gen or newer, you're going to have
pretty much any computer made in the last 15 or 20 years.
No, because I have the
I said pretty much.
Yeah, but you need to make sure that you have a UEFI BIOS. Now I happen to know that this one does. But what I need to do here is I need to go into our boot settings. Am I blind or?
I mean, you are blind. That's why you wear glasses, you know.
Yeah. But there we go. Boot order. So I need to move this up and let's move this up because this is supposed. So the image on here is supposed to show up as a CD drive. Save that. And reboot. Okay. I might have the wrong image because that Ubuntu server. Yep. Okay. We're going to have to boot to our little thumb drive because I am going to need the desktop here. Or I don't need it.
You can always install a desktop.
It will make it easier.
You can always install a desktop on the server version.
I could. But I don't need to install the Ubuntu on it. I just need to get into a live disk. So we're going to plug our USB drive in here and then reboot this thing afterwards. So yeah, the R2, I don't know who here actually saw the official announcement that they did in the Discord the other day, but that was really cool. The thing that I am waiting for now is, I just got finished that Voron and got it printing. It was like, this is so cool. And then Trident sat here and came out with this thing. Well, once they come out with it for Trident, the gantry is almost the exact same on the 2.4. So they're going to be coming out with a update for the 2.4 here soon. It's like, I just got you working, and now I'm excited to tear you apart so I can do the new update.
A Voron is never done.
But as of right now, the expected date for the 2.4 update is Voron soon.
Is that the same thing as a New York minute?
No, New York minute's faster than Voron soon.
I find that hard to believe.
Okay, so we're going to put the USB hard drive there. Exchanges and exit. Yeah, they're working on Phoenix next, which I'd love to build a Phoenix, but I've got the room for it. James can tell you, we have room for a 600 by 600 printer here. I have an entire garage. Yes, the thing's huge, James. James, from the floor, the printer's probably about here.
Is that anything like the Giga that we saw?
Yes, it's like
the same size.
I think the Orange Storm Giga is 600 by 600 as well. Please correct me in chat if I'm wrong on that one, but hold up. I got to switch out my ears.
You just have an extra set of ears lying around? Must be nice.
Okay. So Gergman, the great thing about that is I have a breaker panel right over there with empty slots, and I can easily put two more 20 amp breakers in it because every breaker in this house is 20 amp, and the wiring is there to go with it. Okay, so the gig is bigger, 800 by 800 pair. So a bit smaller than the Giga you saw, James, at Fabrico.
So what I'm hearing is we just need to build a Giga.
No, there are too many problems with the Giga.
I mean, if Hector got it working, we can surely make it happen. We totally have the same amount of resources.
Hector hasn't gotten it working. He's modifying it.
Well, I mean, that's still working.
He's modifying it so it works properly. Okay, so we're just waiting on the system boot up here. Let's go full screen for you guys.
Wow, such full screen. Very wow.
Yeah, I know. That was an amazing full screen. But let's see here. Yeah, Gergman, we've seen a gig in person as well, and yeah, it is huge. It's bigger than some New York apartments, I'd say. I don't know. I've heard about those New York apartments that are the size of broom closets, and that's bigger than a broom closet, at least in the X and Y. Maybe not in the Z.
Definitely not with the height.
Okay, so all we're using the Ubuntu environment for is to boot to a live environment. We're actually not going to be installing Ubuntu on this system. So when this welcome comes up, we're going to close it. That way we can try it out. Now I'm going to go here, and we're going to actually go to the Home Assistant website, and we're going to download the image so that way we can install it on here. Raj, if you're not in my Discord, feel free to post in the self-promotion when you do that stream. I'd like to see it. So the downside to a live OS is since you're running off of USB can be slow. So we're just waiting on Firefox to actually boot up here.
I mean, I have a much faster USB right here with ISOs on it. It's your fault you didn't grab the good one.
HomeAssistant.io. Installation. And they actually happen to have tutorial. That's just telling you, hey, make sure that you are in a environment that is UEFI, and we're going to download the image.
Well, you see, Gergman, maybe we would have to disassemble it to get it into the new place, but at least getting it out of the existing place is real easy because it is the garage that we're in.
Yep, I just need to open up a door.
We'll just have to make sure that the new place also has a garage where that printer will live, so we don't have to disassemble it.
Yep. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go and launch disk. I'm actually just going to take this and delete all the partitions that are on it. Let me. That's free space. And then we're going to go here, restore disk image. Select the Home Assistant OS image that we have and hit start restoring. And restore. Authenticate. So pretty much this is just writing that image to the main hard drive, or in this case SSD, that's on this system. James, I don't know if you saw what Nemesis says. Raj, the Trident's going to be your 7th printer. I would love to get my hands on an index kit. I even have the discount code from when I purchased that one. It's just since the initial order, I've never seen them back in stock. All right. That image is written. So, now that that's done, We can actually close out of all this. That's how easy getting the initial install is. We're going to restart.
Again, I can turn up my volume. I just can't speak a whole lot louder because I don't want to be picked up by the other mic, and it won't sound good if I am. But
Yeah,
I can definitely turn up my mic if that's an issue.
But he's trying to speak a bit quieter so that way you guys don't get an echo. Yeah, Raj, you and Down Undermaker, are lucky getting in on that batch one. Okay, so we're going to remove our install media. Hit enter. And then I'm going to start spamming escape. That way I can tell this thing not to boot to the USB drive. Stop mounting that. And go into our back into our BIOS. Go back into our boot order. Good. We have the Samsung Pro drive in there. So we don't need to change anything. So, in theory, because most of the time when I do this, I put it on a virtual machine. Once this boots up, we'll be ready to start messing with Home Assistant. And in theory, Home Assistant's up. So what we're going to do is we see our IP address. I don't know if you guys know if I can zoom this in. Yeah, that didn't help much. It gives you on the third line what our IP address is. So we actually don't even need to interact with this system on the machine anymore. We just need to go to the other one, and we want to go to port 8123 as our port. So I need to go over here and type this out here real quick. N.223.66. N.2.3.66:8123. Okay, and so this is the initial setup screen. This one I can zoom in on so you guys can see. And to get Home Assistant set up, it's as simple as, create my smart home. We're going to call this Studio. Username, we could have Studio. Put in a super secure secret password. And James, look up the address for Disney World. That's going to be our address. I'm gonna make this address Disney. Why? Because I can. Disney World. Disney World. Oh, Magic Kingdom. Yeah, the official address of Magic Kingdom.
Should be 1375 East Buena Vista Way. sorry, drive. And it's in Lake Buena Vista. Zip code is 32830.
There we go. We'll go Team Disney. That'll be our address. Next, if you want, you can turn on some basic information to help them. In this case, since this isn't a real system, I'm not going to, because it will not be helpful to them. But you could turn on, like, hey, diagnostics. That way, if you do get a crash, they could get a report so that they can help them do this. Again, this is an open source project, so helping the developers and things of that nature not only helps you, but can help other people. We're going to keep all that off. And of course, yeah, it found some compatible devices because you know what? I'm going to put the studio lights on this. Two lights, and so I can sit here and say, hey, turn that light off.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh, I was told not to do that.
It's too dark.
But you guys can see, it automatically picked up those lights for me. Now, let me see here. James, can you switch off this screen real quick? Just because since it automatically picked up stuff I don't want to show. Living room has nothing. Kitchen has nothing. Settings, devices, services, devices. I'll just have to be careful. Okay. Yeah. I could. Now. Yeah, now we're good. Okay. So you can see you can automatically pick up devices. Sorry, I do have some other devices on my network that are personal that can cast. So, and I just didn't bother completely isolating this network today. Nemesis copyright infringement incoming. This address is already in use. That would be hilarious if that happened just now. Let's see. Tom says we should build a small printer, make a small social network where friends can print to our printers if it was available. I can sit. Oh, that's a mean thing to do, Tom. Now, the other cool thing that let me see if the integration is going to show up here. Yeah, you can. So Prusa already has an integration built in. Octoprint has an integration built in, and the one that I was surprised to see that already has one built in that somebody's taken the time to make or the company themselves made. Dremel has an integration for their printers already built into Home Assistant. Bamboo does not have an integration. But what we're going to do now is there is an integration for Moonraker. But to get that, we need to add on to an integration that is a community store for Home Assistant. Because since it's open, anybody can make apps for this. So, but these are not, officially like, hey, they've been vetted by Home Assistant. These are a install at your own risk, because there are, if you have this installed and Home Assistant doesn't update and depreciates something, or this app sits here and turns off something that another one of your things uses, it can break. So they give you a nice warning, it's not for everyone. If you're looking for the most absolute stable experience, you might want to skip it. But there are a lot of things that Hacks brings that you can't do with the normal. I know James happens to have an air conditioning that without Hacks, he wouldn't be able to get running on this system. But because of Hacks, he can turn it on, turn it off, adjust its temperature, everything. The cool thing, to add this integration, you can literally click on the link, and then what we're going to do is give it our IP address here. So 10.2.223.66. Save, and then we'll go open the link, and it's saying, hey, do you want to add this to it? So add, install. Mad Dog, if you get that computer for $40, it's been up there for a while. That's going to be a nice little thing to tinker around with. Okay, so now we just start it. And that's how simple it was to add Hacks. So now we have access. Oh yeah, this does not, it only provides download 2 Hacks. So start. Logs. Verified versions. Looks like it's there. And we should be good. We just need to reinstall. We just need to restart Home Assistant for it to be working. So we're going to go to our settings, come up here to this, and just restart Home Assistant. And let's just try the restart Home Assistant. Sometimes you can, sometimes just like a Klipper printer, you can just restart the Klipper firmware. Sometimes you need to reboot the entire system. We're going to see if we can just restart the system and see if it shows up. So should be able to go into here. Here and
Can he figure it out, folks? Can he do it?
Applications, settings, apps, Hacks, and start. Yeah, that's to get it. Installed. Number been a while since I've installed hacks. That's the Git hacks.
Guys, I promise you, nothing here is scripted,
Yeah.
as indicated by right now.
Yeah. I was doing it right. Go to the devices page and add the integration. Setting, devices and services. And integration. Hacks. I have to log into a GitHub. So give me a second here. While I log into GitHub. Okay. And we are there. Now, if I wanted to, I could say, hey, this was in a certain area. In this case, Hacks is running on the server, so it's not actually in a room. Skip and finish. So, Hacks is installed. Now, look like this so I can see chat again. Yep, and so we're going to go back to our integrations. Yep. So the Moonraker add-on I'm going to be doing is by this Mark Oliver Arsenault Moonraker Home Assistant. He actually has a whole documentation page, so I've actually never installed this. Let's see what he wants us to do to install them. Go to our integration. Hacks and search. Hacks.
Yes.
Moonraker.
Guys, I don't think this man has ever used Home Assistant before.
Yeah. Moonraker. Here's our Moonraker. Download. And download. Theory. Okay, so we need to do a restart. So restart Home Assistant. In theory, this should be up and going now. Okay, so under Hacks, we have two services running. We need to add our integration for Moonraker. Okay, and then I'm correct. This is going to be our IP for our printer. And one of them is 2.10.3. And I'm guessing that's going to be fine. We're just going to call this V0 because that's the printer that it is. Submit. Area. We're going to create a new area and we're just going to call this Studio because that's where the printer is. Now, the cool thing is you have standard things like, you know, a bed that you can give the studio, but I can also go things like penguin. So we're going to make the studio icon a penguin. If you have a multi-floor house, you can tell it, hey, this room's on a separate floor. You can add labels. You can add a picture of it if you want. We're just going to go create and finish. So you can see if we go back to our overview, we now have a room called Studio. If I click on that, my NeoPixel display, the brightness on it, the side panels for the NeoPixels, the brightness on that, what our printer state is, the printer message is it's ready, this current state, all of this I can view, and there is a lot that you can sit here and view through this. And so even if you had something like a printer with a camera, the only printer I have that has a camera right now is the Prusa, but if I had a camera in the V0 or the 2.4, here under security is where the cameras would show up. So you can actually use this and view your cameras. You know, let me see. Kind of in the way here. Let me get off the side. Oh, look, a Mountain Dew. Yeah, so I'm going to rotate the printer here so you guys can see the NeoPixel side panels. If I go and increase the NeoPixel side panel brightness, you can see it blinking there as it's updating what brightness it's running at. That is, the display should be that one right there. So right now it's at 50%. It's the one next to the knob there, but I don't know how well you guys can see that, but now I'm at 100%. So you can see right here from within Home Assistant, I can control this. Now, granted, that's nothing new. We've been able to do that through Mainsail and all that forever. The cool thing about Home Assistant with this is you can set up things like activities and stuff like that. So, I can sit here and set up an activity that, hey, automation activity, they're different now, but we can set up an automation that, hey, when the printer finishes, send me a notification through the Home Assistant app, because with a bit of work, and there are guides on how to do it, I'm not going to go into it now because I'm not going to expose my public IP to people. But you can actually sit here and there is a Home Assistant app for your phone. And if you set it up, you can actually access your Home Assistant from outside your home if you'd like. And you can even have it that, hey, if you're printing unattended, or like you're gone, but like your partner's here, so someone's keeping an eye on the printer, it can send you a text. It can send you a notification on your phone to say, "Hey, the printer's done." Or, for instance, like how my printers are out here in the studio. I can sit here and like go and watch TV, and once the printer's done, it can send me a notification. If it runs into a problem, it can send me a notification.
Or it could flash the lights in the house.
Or I can have it, "Hey, your printer's done. Flash the lights in the house to purple." You can see that's all just done through automations and scenes. So, we can go, create an automation. Let's go new automation. So let's add a trigger. So we want a trigger from, and this is literally me doing this on the fly. In this case, I think this shows up as a device. Yep, so device. So we're going to select the device. Go into here, and it's our V0. Trigger emergency stop has been pressed. So we can have that as our trigger. So, and it, just like programming, you can sit here and, do and if. So, when the emergency trigger is stopped, and if this or this happens, it can do a different thing. Yeah, if you were doing like current print status, like Caleb says, it looks like that would be under entity instead of device. This is, I can have it that when the current layer value changes, which good Lord, that would be a lot of the notifications every time it did a Z-hop, do something. The extruder temperature value changes, power value changes, the temp changes. You can see there's quite a bit that you can go through, and it's really on how much detail you want to put into it. But when the emergency stop has been pressed, I can tell it, let's see. Don't really have anything in here right now for it to do anything with. Yeah, I could go to lights. And I could tell it, toggle light. So that'll talk, if they're off, it'll turn them on. And I could add another action and do light. And then, put both of the Elgato lights. And then add target here, put both the Elgato lights here. So if I were to hit the emergency stop button, it would toggle these lights off, then on. So yeah. Now, granted, I'm not going to do that because I turn these lights off right now through this, and it messes up James's stream settings.
I can do that.
Yeah, you could do that, but you're doing it through the Elgato stuff. So, but with this, the cool thing about it is none of this has to go out over the internet. This is all being done on my local network. This is all being done on the local network. Now, Home Assistant has a list of devices and integrations and what they require. So let me see if I can pull up the Home Assistant integrations page, because these are the ones that are built into Home Assistant.
And
So
it's a lot.
yeah, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of ones built in. But let's go. I know. Let's go weather. So you can see all of these are available for, getting the local weather, having it automatically go. Like Google Weather, I can go here, and it even tells you, this is an IoT class. Its class is cloud pulling. So what that's telling you is that is an integration that, should you install it, is going to go out to the cloud. So it's going to go out to Google and pull back. If I go back, let me just do this. Prusa, you can see, is set as local polling. If I had no internet access, Prusa would still work because it does it all locally. So it's a great way to kind of lock down your system to prevent, all these smart devices from reporting back to Google or Amazon and stuff like that. Or it's just a way that, hey, you have a bit more control. For instance, Tom's going to kill me for mentioning this brand because I know how much he hates it, but Ecobee. The Ecobee smart thermostats, when you set them up, they can do Matter through HomeKit and stuff like that. But, most of the time, people think of it as they're just a thermostat. They actually have a sensor in them. I believe it's a thermal sensor to detect when people are in the room. Well, through the Ecobee app and everything, you don't have access to that. Through Home Assistant, you can actually access that sensor, and you can have it that, hey, when that sensor picks up somebody, turn the lights on in the room. So you can actually get but yeah, and I know that Caleb, you can add it. You just had, like you said, you have to do it through a HomeKit. There's workarounds and stuff that you can do for everything. It's typically, if it's smart, there's a way to get it. You might have to do a workaround, but there's a way. But you could use that internal sensor to turn on a light. Whereas, Amazon in their system won't let you do that. Google in their system won't let you do that. Smart Things won't let you do that. HomeKit won't let you do that. With Home Assistant, you can. I told you were going to hate me mentioning the brand. But how secure or relying on the cloud or ease of use and everything, it all depends on what you're willing to put into it. It's a lot like 3D printers. You can sit here and get a Voron and put it together. It's a DIY solution, just like Home Assistant. How good a quality your prints comes out to it really depends on the effort you put into it. So, if you sit here and you just want like something semi-local, but you don't care, or you're looking for something that makes it easy for you to have, like Amazon Assistants and Google Assistants and all that, just easily talk to each other, you can do that. There'll still be cloud polling and everything, but it can bring it all into one system instead of, oh, was this light set up in Amazon? Okay, well, that's not talking to Google and things of that nature. So, but at the end of the day, it comes down to how much effort you're willing to put into it, what you're willing to deal with. I know a lot of us here in this community, we like to tinker with things. And so a lot of us are willing to put that time into things. There are other people who are just, like, for instance, my parents, who, good Lord, no, if I were to give this to them and set up a system for them, I'd be getting a call every other day or something because they would do something or try to do something and it wouldn't work, and then I'd have to fix their system. So, it all depends on your comfort level and what you're willing to do. But if you can get it up and going, I can tell you it's been running in my house for a good 5 years now, and I think James has been going even longer. And it's even to the point where I have Philips Hue light bulbs in my house. They don't talk to Philips anymore, because what a lot of people don't know is that Philips Hue bulbs are just Zigbee bulbs. Zigbee is a communication standard that's used in the smart home. So I don't need to use their hub. I don't need to connect it to their app. It's just connected to my Home Assistant, and my Home Assistant takes care of everything. But with that, that's kind of the basics of setting up Home Assistant. Back here until it don't save that. Most of your things are set up here. Devices and services, this is where you run your integrations. Whether you're running the container or Home Assistant OS, integrations are available. Now, what's not available is the apps. So, like, if you're running the container version, apps can get a bit more difficult to install. You can still do it, but you have to go through and manually add it in instead of using this little app that just downloads everything for you. You can see it automatically knew that on my network there's a Matter network. It just put the Matter app on it. You can make to-do lists. If you have a solar array or something, you can track your energy usage.
You can get speakers that work with Home Assistant that you can use local AI to run. And, you can be like, hey, you can say something like, hey, Jarvis, or hey, computer, or something to that effect. Yeah. And wake up the speaker just like you do with the Google or Amazon ones. And, have them control your devices that are connected to Home Assistant. Or if you're running it as an AI, again, you can do either an AI that you pay for, or you can do a local AI that you have running on any of your computers at your house. And you can be like, hey, tell me a story about XYZ. Or, hey, at that point it becomes an actual, AI you could talk to. But the difference is you can run it locally. So you don't have a lot of the downsides that come with a lot of the, hey, AI is terrible because of, all the data centers, which is absolutely, fair. It absolutely is. But you can definitely run it locally and, kind of get around a lot of those big, questionable issues for sure.
Nemesis, I bet you it could actually make you a martini, because I happen to know that there is a smart device out there that makes martinis, and I bet you there's an integration to hook that up to Home Assistant. So, yes, Nemesis, it probably can make you a martini, but you can even use it as a media player. You can sit here and I don't have any media loaded onto this thing, but you can upload your media files or link a media folder to it. And then you could tell that smart speaker, hey, play this playlist from here.
Yeah, there's an integration called Music Assistant that if you want to pull that up on the screen, just search for Music Assistant. You can add this integration, and any, music service you use, a lot of the streaming services even can connect to this Music Assistant. And through Home Assistant, you can listen to your music on any speaker connected to Home Assistant.
And then, like you just saw there, if you have a question on how to set it up, if it's one of the ones that's built into Home Assistant, the help button always works, and it'll bring you to a little, configuration page on what you need to do to set it up. With hacks, I've run into a few that don't have that working, but most of the time, by the time you're that deep into hacks, it's probably you're going through forums, or you've done it enough that you're like, oh yeah, this is what I need to do. Or you're on GitHub, and I'm pretty sure a lot of us are very comfortable and familiar with GitHub. But yes, Nemesis, I'm pretty sure it could make you a martini. Yeah, I think it's this Barsys thing. There's Shaker Pro. Yeah, you can see there's a Barsys. So if I were to go into here, I don't know if they have Barsys, but let's find out if they do. Nope, no Barsys. But if I go into hacks, let's see if there's something in here. So in this case, no one's made it, but I know Barsys is not the only one out there. There's probably one that'll work for it. Yeah. And even then, if you're willing to mess around with things like ESP32s, oh, good Lord. You get into your programming, sky's the limit. GPIO pins on a Raspberry Pi, you can integrate that into Home Assistant. So it just comes down to what you're comfortable with and how far you want to go.
Yeah, this is a pretty short stream, but I think that just about covers all of it, no?
Yeah. But with that, like I said, I have a few other Linux streams that I'm planning in the future. Now, I know we just spent a long time getting that thing set up. The question I have for you is, would you guys like to see another Linux stream going over, let's see, making your own home router, or, making your own version of Netflix that you can do? Or would you like me to get to the next printer? Because I have the next printer just sitting here waiting to be built. Now that I have 2 printers, and the filament. In fact, James, can you do me a favor? Remember the color I showed you earlier that's on the ottoman? I have the filament that I'm going to be using for the accent colors. It just showed up Friday. Caleb's up for me to starting a whole new printer build. That one. Ugh. I printed with them. I am actually becoming a pretty big fan of new makers. And so with this one, this is the New Makers Grass Green. One of the things that I liked about the New Makers when I had seen them is, they have a green. It's a pretty bright green, but it's not that overly saturated green. More of a toned down green. So it's going to be this in black. And, so far the theme is all printers are going to be Linux. So, the one we just finished right there, that's Ubuntu. Well, there happens to be a Linux flavor that one of their main colors is green, and that's SUSE Linux. So, the Micron is going to be SUSE. Eventually, I am going to... so many of those things, I can't wait to try those out. I'm going to be reprinting the parts for the V0 and rebuilding that in with the New Maker Blue. That's going to be Fedora. Eventually, I'm going to have a Voron, and I might do it as a Trident. And that's going to be, a standard red Voron. Fedora. James, Mad Dog's requesting to see the blue. Yeah, I know. So yeah, you can see, like, compared to the green cap, it's different, but if you look at the green on the label, it actually is almost a perfect Mountain Dew green for the label. Yes. So that's their blue. And I also, the yellow, you guys have seen already. That is actually the yellow that I printed the Cracks arm out of. Black is black. That's their New Maker's black. And they also have an orange and a red. Those I have not unpacked yet. I can't show you those. Legends, welcome on in. Let's see here. First time here. In your past, things like Home Assistant and DIY Tech never works as easily. So yes, Legends, you are correct on that on Home Assistant. While a lot of things do just work, there are other times where it's, hey, you're going to be going in and figuring things out. Like, for instance, when I first got my Home Assistant up and going, Nabukasa had a little dongle that was originally designed that it could do Matter and Zigbee on the same device. And I bought for that. That way, hey, one USB port does everything. Well, they later found out that that wasn't the best idea, but they kept supporting it. Well, I did an update recently where that support is completely gone away. And so I went to turn on my lights the other day, and because they stopped supporting that feature, they wouldn't turn on because that wasn't integrated anymore, because it was actually breaking systems before.
To be fair, that has been depreciated for a very, very long time. This guy just is terrible at doing stuff when he's told to do it.
Yeah. So with me, it was working. No sense. It was working fine. No sense in breaking.
But it was broken because it was depreciated. That's what depreciated means. It's going to break.
No, depreciated means they're not updated. But it was working. My lights would turn on. They would do what I want. Well, eventually, it just, when they depreciated entirely, stopped putting it in the system, they stopped working. Well, I happen to have a second one, so I just split it off. One ran Matter, one ran Zigbee, and now they're up and going. But the other thing, Legends, is the printers are named after different Linux operating systems, not necessarily the Linux operating system that is running on them. But, Linux is my other bread and butter. So, kind of want to theme the printers around them. So yeah, that'll be OpenSUSE or SUSE. That'll be Fedora. I have a red one for Red Hat. I don't know of any printers or of any Linux distros that use yellow. Any mainline. I mean, I guess with the light blue on the V0, I could just call that Arch as well. And just leave it as it is. But I'm working on dehydrating filament right now. So that's printing out more stuff for my coworkers, but I've got another roll of the New Maker's Black dehydrating. Let's see here. So I can definitely say the Bad Dog, the color that you see on their website and the color that it is in person is slightly different, and that can be down to, the monitor you're looking at it on, or if it's not an actual image of the product on their website, if it's just a generated image, that could change it, but it's still not as bright, overly saturated green as most green. The blue, it's a pretty good blue. Give you an idea. That's compared to your standard blue painter's tape. So it's a bit deeper blue than the painter's tape. More silica gel. Oh, I will be right back. I just picked up another new thing to go along with this, and it's been working well. So I just picked up the Slice Engineering Activated Alumina desiccant, and it comes in these little canisters. They kind of fit right inside your little hole for the spool holders. And this stuff has been working great. Their claim is infinitely rechargeable. So unlike your silica gel beads that, heating them up over time can damage them. So eventually they wear out to the point where you can't use it. Apparently you don't have that issue with these. And that's actually sitting inside the middle here, picking up the moisture. And I've already seen a difference in the amount. Like when I ran that before with the silica gel, I'd be lucky to get down to 25% humidity. And on a single run with the filament that's printed on there that I did earlier today, I got it down to 19% relative humidity in Florida. So, that's already improvement enough for me. But then once it's done, you sit here and throw this into an oven at, I believe it's 450C or 450 Fahrenheit, like 170C or something like that, whatever it turns out to be, for a couple of hours. Dries it out, put it back in the container, and keep using it. So I'm gonna be using this for a bit. We're gonna see how well it does, but yeah, that's one of the new little things we got. Yeah. Legends. I don't know if your bulk pack came with it. The little canister packs actually come. These do slightly change color, apparently. and it actually comes with a test strip that you can kind of hold up next to it to see what the moisture content is in it and see if it's time to dry it or not. So we're going to see, but you know, this is Spice Engineering is a Florida company, so you know, thought I'd give them a try. Let's see here. But other things we picked up, or I picked up recently, after the wonderful crimping episode that we had doing the A4T toolhead, you know, I talked to quite a few people, and I picked myself up a pair of iWists. So instead of a single action to do both crimps at once, it's now a single action to do one crimp, move it over, do the next crimp, so I can actually see where I'm crimping, because that was one of the big problems I had with the other one, is once the crimp was in there, I couldn't really tell how far my wire was in, and so it got to be hey, I'm feeling around, okay, that feels about right, crimp down, and yes, I did it, or crud, I messed up and I have to redo it. So
Also, that's what she said, by the way.
So hopefully this will help fix that. But this is also because I wasn't sure if my other crimper would do Molex. And when I switched, that thing is currently running USB. I know down under, I said the bad words, but I am going to be switching it over to CAN at some point. But the Leviathan has CAN, can be a CAN host itself. The big thing is that on the Leviathan, it is a 2x2 Molex connector. And I have to break that out into a 2-pin JST connector. Well, they don't make pre-made CAN cables that have a 2x2 Molex on one end and are just bare wires on the other. So I'm going to have to make my own cable. But to do that, I have to crimp Molex. So according to everything I read, this will do JST and it'll do Molex. So we're going to have some fun with that. And we have, like I said, the little 2x2 Molex connectors we picked up. And the other fun thing that I picked up, you guys saw the electric screwdriver last stream, or the stream before that. I actually haven't even opened these yet. But one of the problems I was having was depinning on the last stream. Well, I sat here and went online and got myself some depinning tools. Of course, they take them all together. So I'm opening this for the first time in front of you guys. Tape everywhere. But it's just a little depinning tool. You put it in there, you push, and pull your pen out. And that's all there is to it. So that should hopefully help next time I need to do some depinning. And these are just the JR Ready depinning tools. So yeah, fun new little toys. But there's not really much more I can say about Home Assistant. I heard Caleb wants me to do the printer next. So, I'll have to get working on printing parts, but does anybody have a preference between the printer and more Linux content? Maybe a router, or like I said, you can do a host your own Netflix type thing. Always use. Not familiar with that brand, but I can look that up, Legends, afterwards. See, I'm not seeing anybody. I don't know how many people we have watching right now. Does your screen tell you that, James? Okay, so Matt Owl likes flipping between both. So we just finished a printer, then we went on to Linux. So the next thing would be going back to a printer. So it'd be Jellyfin, and I would probably do pfSense, not OpenSense. Just because I do like pfSense. James is a fan of OpenSense, so yes. But we can always do both. More content. Hey, one time we show you guys how to do pfSense. Next time we show you how to do OpenSense. Might be even willing to do Untangle. Never messed with it, but hey. Yeah, OpenWRT we could do as well. Yeah, there's a lot of router software out there that we can mess with. All right. Well, I've really only heard from 2 people. How about how to rebuild a 4-cylinder turbo engine? Nemesis? I can't do that. I am not an engine guy. Yeah, we sat here and yesterday I had a nice little thing going with Mad Dog where we just hopped in chat. We were helping him with his printer. Getting Crow's Nest, and we got down and dirty with Linux of manually installing Crow's Nest, and so teaching him some of the commands there. That was fun. Yeah, the thing that I don't like about Untangled is the licensing that they do, because it's, hey, you get the basics, but if you want anything more, you have to pay us. Whereas pfSense, you have the community version and you have the paid version. I can actually do both versions. I actually have a Netgate appliance. Granted, I have not upgraded that Netgate appliance in years because I ran it on a server I ran the community version on a server for a while, and now I have a UDM Pro. But yeah, we'll take a look, because I'm pretty sure the community edition's still free at that. But yeah, if you guys need help or anything, the community is out there. I just sat here and got bored yesterday because I had the day off because I had vacation time that I'm in the use it or lose it point for my year. So I happened to have a Saturday off, and I was just like, hey, I'm doing a hangout and voice chat. We can talk about whatever yesterday. So Mad Dog joined me, Caleb joined us. So it's a fun little thing. But, you know, instead of me continuing to ramble on, it looks like the plan is going to be to do the printer. So now that I've got the Voron up and going, I can start printing out the printer parts. Actually, because no, I'm not going to show that. I did the on the Orca slicer. I was actually quite pleased because, James, if you can do me a favor, show the screen. We'll delete that. I actually went into the handy models and printed out the tolerance test, and 0 was a little bit of friction, but the 0.05 on the tolerance, that Voron is tuned that fits no problem, and I can even fit the 0 with minimal effort. So I'm very happy with the tolerance test. So, but you know, with that, I will sit here and start getting the parts sorted out for the Micron, and we will start working on that next stream. And James is probably glad to hear that because he knows what to make a thumbnail for now. He usually gets the thumbnail advice like the day before or something from me. So yeah, that'll make his job easier. But with that, I've been oh wait.
We were so close.
Yes, but when the cat comes in, she's got to go. But you know, we'll leave you with the cat for the on the stream. I've been Penguin Makers. The mystical voice behind the camera has been James Cube. This is River. And you all go make something awesome.